This one's a major throwback. As we inch closer towards the elections, I wanted to share an iconic moment from the 2016 second presidential debate, during which Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump were asked to name one positive trait they respected about each other. Although this segment was short, it showcased a lot about both candidates and their character, and proved how a career politician handles such questions versus an outsider like Trump, who is not accustomed to needlessly talking without actually saying anything. But before I delve deeper into it, watch the clip.
We've sneaked in one more question, and it comes from Carl Becker.
Good evening. My question to both of you is, regardless of the current rhetoric, would either of you name one positive thing that you respect in one another?
Mr. Trump, would you like to go first?
Well, I certainly will, because I think that's a very fair and important question. Look, I respect his children. His children are incredibly able and devoted, and I think that says a lot about Donald. I don't agree with nearly anything else he says or does, but I do respect that. And I think that is something that as a mother and a grandmother is very important to me.
I think the entire nation should thank Carl for this question because it revealed how truly each candidate thinks about the other, despite their disagreements. Although the question was a straightforward and simple one, Clinton's answer was one you'd expect from a typical politician. Carefully calculated and safe, it showed to the public her inability and unwillingness to commend Trump directly, which reflects a strategic choice in the high-stakes environment of a presidential debate. By the way, do subscribe for more discussions like this. By complimenting Trump's children, she effectively acknowledged a part of his life that could be universally admired without contradicting her previous criticisms of him. This allowed her to maintain her campaign's narrative and avoid providing sound bites that could seem to endorse any of Trump's qualities or actions. This moment also highlighted the intense polarization of the 2016 election, where common ground was scarce and even basic compliments between rivals were hard to come by. The exchange showcased the deep divisions not only between the candidates, but also between their respective supporter bases, reflecting broader societal and political divides. In stark contrast to Hillary's response, Trump adopted a different strategy. Watch this next clip to see his response.
Mr. Trump.
Well, I consider her statement about my children to be a very nice compliment. I don't know if it was meant to be a compliment, but it is a great. I'm very proud of my children. And they've done a wonderful job, and they've been wonderful, wonderful kids. So I consider that a compliment. I will say this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that. I tell it like it is. She's a fighter. I disagree with much of what she's fighting for. I do disagree with her judgment in many cases. But she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up, and I consider that to be a very good trait.
Donald Trump's direct acknowledgement of Hillary Clinton's resilience highlighted a rare moment of grace in the highly charged atmosphere of the 2016 elections. By directly commending a competitor, Trump demonstrated a level of sportsmanship and respect that can be crucial in softening political rivalries and reducing voter polarization. This moment showed that even fierce competitors could find and acknowledge strengths in each other, providing a capacity for bipartisanship and mutual respect. And this is essential for an effective governance, since once a candidate becomes elected, they're effectively the president of all Americans and not just the party they represent. Trump's readiness to see and articulate positive aspects in Clinton's character, even amidst a campaign marked by aggressive rhetoric, signaled to the voters that political figures can rise above personal animosities and recognize the professional and personal qualities of their adversaries. Additionally, Trump's choice to thank Clinton for a comment about his children despite his indirect nature also played well. It showed him acknowledging a compliment, however small, which helped soften his combative and public persona. By doing so, Trump added a humanizing element to his campaign, contrasting with the often dehumanizing rhetoric of political contests. It underscored the importance of maintaining respect and decency in political discourse, reminding the public that beyond the political personas are individuals who possess commendable human qualities. But Clinton's response wasn't just about Trump's children. She went on to tangent and quickly turned the discussion towards her vast experience and great policies.
I believe that this election has become in part so so conflict-oriented, so intense, because there's a lot at stake. This is not an ordinary time, and this is not an ordinary election. We are going to be choosing a president who will set policy for not just 4 or 8 years, but because of some of the important decisions we have to make here at home and around the world, from the Supreme Court to energy and so much else. And so there is a lot at stake. It's one of the most consequential elections that we've had. And that's why I've tried to put forth specific policies and plans, trying to get it off of the personal and put it on to what it is I want to do as president. And that's why I hope people will check on that for themselves so that they can see that, yes, I've spent 30 years, actually maybe a little more, working to help kids and families, and I want to take all that experience to the White House and do that every single day.
That's typical from a career politician, and I'll explain why. People like Hillary, who have been present in the political game for nearly all their lives, employ a basic tactic in discussion and debate known as filibustering or deflection, wherein they continuously speak on a tangent until the original issue at hand fades into the background. This strategy is not merely about prolonging speech, but is a deliberate method to steer the conversation away from potentially uncomfortable topics and towards areas where they feel more confident or can better control the narrative. This technique works on several levels. First, it allows the politician to appear responsive without directly addressing the question posed. By talking extensively, they create the illusion of thoroughness and consideration, even if the content is only minimally related to the subject. This can be particularly effective in formal debates or interviews where time is limited, where the longer they speak on diversions, the less time there is to probe deeper into the original issue. Secondly, by shifting the focus, politicians can reframe the discussion in terms that are more favorable to their agenda. For example, if questioned about a controversial policy failure, a politician might start discussing a different policy where they had more success, subtly shifting the metric of evaluation from failure to success. This not only diverts attention, but also reshapes the conversation's context, making it harder for opponents or interviewers to pin them down on the initial point. This tactic also plays on the audience's short attention spans. In an era of rapid news cycles and constant information flow, it's easy for the public to lose track of the initial question as they try to follow the speaker's train of thought. The politician's goal is to muddy the waters and make it challenging for the audience to remember the starting point of the conversation. However, this strategy can also backfire, as it happened in this case, where a lot of people called Hillary out for not being able to answer a simple question and instead chose to go on a tangent about how people should vote for her. The truth is, a politician needs to be able to play in people's minds, and the best way to do that is through words. Some of the most effective politicians in history have been those that could steer people's minds and emotions through their oratory skills, but in the end, I think people today have smartened up. They understand when a politician's deflecting, and their intentions are with every tangent they go on and every long monologue they give. But what are your thoughts on this? Do you think America dodged a bullet by not electing Hillary Clinton for presidency back in 2016? Let's get the conversation rolling in the comments down below.